Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at SooSoo Toys Old Man Logan. Now I got mine as a review sample from One Man's Hobby. I have popped a link to their site in the description below. For your reference purposes only, this is by no means a promotional video, this is a review. All opinions, as always, are 100% my own. I have not been asked to only say good things. If you are heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new third-party figure review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, it's fine. This is a very dark image of Logan front and center. We have the wastelands in the background and his name down below. Because the front image does spill over the edge, on the side of the box we also have the wastelands. I'm getting mighty sick of saying wastelands, but around the back, just one more time, wastelands. Up top, Old Man Logan, and we also have some warnings and legal information back there. I also made sure to get this little upgrade set that, surprisingly enough, has better artwork on it than the actual box for the figure that it's supposed to be paired up with. This contains a red shirt and an angry head sculpt. You'll see what's inside a little bit later. For the slipcover, an image of the actual figure, and in the background, I'm not going to say it, the desert. We've got some blood splatter down below and a SooSoo Toys logo in the corner. Dude, I can already tell, just based off the accessory count alone, we're in for a treat with this one. Oh, and there is a hidden jacket taped to the underside of the clam tray. I'm still not sold on the use of this sticker though. It says read the instructions, but there are no instructions. The only reason that's here is to make the clam tray look like a clam tray from an official Hot Toys figure. I think they should either include instructions or ditch the sticker entirely. When SooSoo Toys first told me they were working on something like this, it was never meant to be Old Man Logan. He was interested in making, as he put it, Cowboy Wolverine. We chatted about it and he ended up going with Old Man Logan, which in hindsight I think was the right decision, because now that I've read the run, I'm even more excited to add this guy to the display. First in-hand impressions, so far so good. What we are going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first. I recently mentioned that this was a stolen display base mold from Sideshow. SooSoo Toys just recast it and they've kept running with it ever since. Some people didn't like me saying that. I'm not sure why, because it's true. They did do that. Why did I only mention it recently? Well, I only found out recently. I know. I'm supposed to be this walking encyclopedia of 1/6 scale figures, but I'm not. So I just found out that's why I said it in the Gentle Moon video. And it's still true for Logan's display base. We have the 4 metal grate flooring look quadrants done in brown with the airbrush shading, a silver X in the middle with washers in the grille detail, and we've got an adjustable crotch grabber up top. He does come with this tatty, ratty looking old cowboy hat. There are chunks taken out of it, it's all scuffed up and nasty looking, there's texture on the surface, and they've sculpted some stitching around the edges. Because this is rubbery plastic, it's not flocked, it's just painted to look like it's made of material. We will try this out on both of his head sculpts a little bit later. His lasso is literally a thick piece of string that has been weathered, so I like that, and it's held together to make it look like a loop with a metal clip. I will show you where this stores on his belt. Wolverine with a combat knife doesn't sit well with me. I'm never going to have him displayed holding this. The blade is made of plastic, it's painted in shiny metallic silver, the handle has a wood grain pattern on it, and there's some airbrush shading. Same thing with the revolver and the shotgun, they're just not very Wolverine-y to me. There are some holsters on his gun belt that you can have these sitting in. The shotgun can open, you can remove those cartridges if you can actually get them out because they sit in there very securely, and it's painted in the same way as the knife, with wood grain and metallic shiny silver. This revolver can open, you can rotate the central section, and you can bring back the hammer. Once again, all of the paint applications for all three weapons match. This is probably my favorite accessory. It's Baby Banner Jr. You get a full Baby Hulk, and you get one that's more like a half torso installed in the backpack. The head sculpt is on a ball joint, nothing else is articulated. There is a surprising amount of detail on this guy. There's skin texture, the eyes look very realistic, and the teeth are separate pieces inset into the mouth along with the tongue. You get this severed limb for him to hold on to, and it's keyed so that his hands do slot into certain sections. In the book, the Hulk gang does eat people, so that's why he comes with this nasty, bloody-looking severed limb. The backpack is entirely made of sculpted plastic, including the tassels, which are two separate rubbery pieces. The mini Hulk torso looks like this. I think it's that, just without the legs and arms on, right? Because you can see the keyed holes. It's painted in the exact same way as the full Hulk. And there's a double ball peg up on top. So you can remove Hulk's head sculpt, then you can pop it on the half body, and now you can have Baby Banner Jr. sitting inside the backpack. There is a piece of foam in there just to prop him up a little. You can remove it if you want him to sit down a touch lower. Oh, and I didn't forget about this flap. This is an interchangeable piece that you can use with the backpack if you don't have Hulk in there. And lastly, a full array of hands, ranging from closed fists with the claws, which are made of real metal, so they're spiky. Do be careful not to impale yourself when you're installing these on the wrist pegs. Luckily, the hands are soft enough that this is one of the few SooSoo Toys releases that doesn't require you to go and grab a hairdryer to heat up the hands before installing them on the body. And that's a good thing. Going forward, keep making the hands as soft as these are. Oh, don't think we're not going to discuss the detail on these, because it's insane. There's hair, there's vein work, skin texture, and some subtle bagginess to the skin in certain areas, so these do look like they belong to an old dude. These open palm clawed hands we do not get often enough from even companies like Hot Toys when they make Wolverine figures. Just look at these things, even the trigger finger hands have the same amount of detail as the clawed hands, so it's not like they went all out with the claws and not the others. We get 2 gripping hands, 2 closed fists, and 2 open palm hands that I currently have installed on him. What we are going to do now though is get Old Man Logan himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Prior to this figure being announced, I had no idea who Old Man Logan was. Well, I knew it was Logan, but I hadn't read the books. Now that I have much more of a connection with this piece. And that's why it took me a little while to decide whether or not I was going to pick him up. I was reading the comics. If you haven't read them, do yourself a favor and do that, because Old Man Logan is one of the craziest comic book stories that I've ever read. It starts off with a villain uprising that then leads to pretty much all of the heroes dying except for a couple like Logan and Hawkeye. Then we go to Japan and we go to the future and different dimensions, and Wolverine fights Dracula. Yeah, you heard that correctly. So if any of that sounds appealing to you, go and read the books, then come back to this figure. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Logan's first head sculpt. We will try out the significantly angrier one after we unbox it, because it does come packaged separately as an accessory kit. This head sculpt, though, is perfect. I literally have no complaints. Detail-wise, it's on point. There's wrinkling for the forehead, a furrowed brow, some crow's feet, plenty of skin texture, some vein work, and he's got a 5 o'clock shadow in between his mutton chops. The mutton chops themselves have just all of the texture on them, and the same thing can be said for the hair. They've even gone so far as to hit it with a lighter grey dry brush, so all of that detail pops. Now, if you do want to have him with the cowboy hat on, just make sure you're putting it on his head in the correct orientation. The wider end of the cutout is supposed to face the back of the head sculpt. When you push it on him, just be gentle, because the last thing you want to do is scratch up the paint applications on his forehead by being too forceful with the hat. There will be some paint transfer if you're rough with it. Be gentle, slide it on, and now he looks even cooler. I am going to have him displayed with the cowboy hat on because it just completes the look. I was really worried that this jacket was going to be made out of pleather. The other one is, but we'll get to that one in just a second. This one is made of like a waxed canvas or something. It almost feels a little bit dusty, for lack of a better word. And that is fitting for Old Man Logan. There are bullet holes just dotted around the place with frayed edges, so they look quite believable. And the bottom part of the jacket is wired. So too is this top portion. So if you do want to have it sitting down over his shoulders, you can do that. Or you can flare it out to make him look a touch bulkier. See what I mean? Now it almost looks like he has shoulder pads on. I prefer to tuck them down a little, somewhere in the middle, not too extreme with the shoulder pads. The lapels are wired, the whole front of the jacket is wired, and like I already told you, the bottom is. The inside is lined, and then underneath the jacket, he's wearing a red shirt. With contrasting white stitching, faux buttons, and there's weathering on this shirt. The scarf thing is wired and you can remove it. I think the contrast with the brown jacket, the red shirt with the white stitching, and the green scarf works. If you don't, this is what he looks like without it on. Not bad, actually. I am still married to the scarf. This is a look that I will consider, because now you can see the fully sculpted and painted skin tone neck. The skin tone is close between the head and the neck itself. It's not perfect, but from a distance, it works just fine. Now, coming down to his belts, he does have two on. You can remove the gun belt if you so choose, and then he'll be left wearing this massive belt-buckled brown pleather belt. This is a real working belt buckle, so you will actually have to unthread it if you want to remove it. On the right side, he has his lasso and his double-barreled shotgun. Then on the other, a combat knife tucked around the back, his revolver, and the extra cartridges for his shotgun. This is a little detail, but I'm so here for it. It's a touch of trickery, if you will. They've added some excess fabric to the sleeves for the red shirt, so they're too long. That way, they poke out from underneath the brown jacket, even when you bend his arms to the max. As you can see, the shirt cuffs are still visible, so they completely hide the wrist pegs. The only thing on the entire figure that I do not love have to be the pants. They've painted them. They've literally grabbed some acrylic paint and slathered it all over the pants. I get they wanted them to be weathered, but this is not how you do that. Paint is going everywhere, all over my review space and all over my hands. So this is going to be one of those figures that, after you pose him, some cleanup will be required. They're very wrinkled, they're nice and baggy, so they're not going to get in the way of range of motion. Now, out of the box, the pants are tucked into the tops of the cowboy boots. I didn't like that. It didn't look right to me, so I just pulled the pants out and slid them over the top instead. It's not to say that you can't display him like this, it just wasn't my jam. This is what he looks like out of the box, pants inside the boots. They are flared out at the top and they're squishy enough that even though they're not a split cut boot design, they still give us enough range for some dynamic posing. There's dry brushing over the top of them to make them look weathered and aged. There's some wrinkling and stitching and leather grain texture sculpted in. And they've even weathered the underside of the soles. Don't get me wrong, I like that this is included and it is accurate to a couple of issues. We saw Banner Jr. in a backpack on Old Man Logan's back. I don't really care. I'm never going to use this because a backpack isn't very cool now, is it? It takes away from the badass cowboy vibe. and it doesn't sit on his shoulders properly. The rubber straps are very thick, and you can't adjust them. So even though the backpack is quite heavy and gravity does most of the heavy lifting, it still likes to ride up every now and then, especially when you try and pose him. Now, Banner is removable, so you can just take him out if you don't want him there. After you've done that, you can then remove this top backpack flap and bring in the one that's meant to make it look like the backpack is closed. The pins are a little bit fiddly to install. Just take your time with them, wiggle them in, and eventually you'll have Logan looking like he has a closed backpack on. So then you can put Banner Jr. somewhere else, on the display base perhaps. The backpack is weathered, this bloody pin doesn't want to stay in, and now the other side's come undone. You know what, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to use this anyway. Okay, now this, I can't wait to look at. This is the DLC kit for Old Man Logan, also by SooSoo Toys. Do you like when companies do this? Sell you an extra add-on set for a figure that you already own? I do, because it helps them keep the price for the base figure lower by excluding some accessories, and then they're only there if you want them. So if you couldn't care less about the red shirt and the angry head sculpt, you can skip this entirely and you're saving yourself a little bit of money. Around the front we do have an image of Logan, except I think this is AI generated art, because the claws aren't coming out of his fist, there's a random fourth claw off to one side. This right here looks very strange. We do have some additional images of Old Man Logan dotted around the rest of the box. Underneath the lid, we have his red shirt, and then we get to the angry head sculpt. I have plans for this sculpt, and it's not me using this on the body that we get in the box. I'm going to take the red shirt, take the second jacket, and this head sculpt, then fashion myself an entirely separate Old Man Logan. This turned out so good, I'm really happy with this, and now I have Cowboy Logan from the Wastelands and 616 Old Man Logan. Thank you SooSoo Toys for making this possible. If they hadn't have included this separate brown jacket and then sold us the accessory set with the red shirt and the angry sculpt, we wouldn't have been able to do this. Now, the body I used is the ZC Toys Muscular Body 2.0. The reason I went with that one is because it's a recast of the Hot Toys The Wolverine body. So it's as close as I could get to an actual Wolverine body without splurging on a Hot Toys one. The skin tone match between the head and the neck is close. It's not perfect, just like the stock body, but it's also not terrible. The red shirt is weathered, it's nice and loose, so it's not going to get in the way of posing, and the jacket is padded at the shoulders, so it gives him that nice broad look. The lapels do tend to fly away, so I might pop some nano tape under there and push them down, because that, to me, looks significantly better. The jeans and boots are going to be more difficult to come by if you want to get these exact ones. I don't suggest trying to do that. The pants are from a Super MC Toys Punisher set. Then the boots are from a Mark 100 Iron Man 3 Tony Stark suit. Just go on AliExpress or something and grab some random boots and some jeans. I went with these ones because of the contrasting yellow stitching and the Levi's patch around the back. I still can't get enough of these relaxed open palm claw hands. And because SooSoo Toys gives us these and the closed fists, that makes this setup even more possible. You don't have to go out and try and find yourself some real metal clawed Wolverine hands. Anyway, I'm sure nobody cares about my custom. Let's get back to discussing the head sculpt, and then we'll pop it on the stock body. The detail is just as perfect on this sculpt as with the other one. The teeth are a separate piece inset into the mouth, so there's an actual shadow in there. No Hot Toys Paul Rudd Ant-Man effect going on with this sculpt. The hair has the grey dry brush on it, and the expression is significantly more angry compared to the standard one. That one has a scowl on it. This one makes it look like he wants to rip your damn head off. Damn, Now I'm having a tough time deciding which head sculpt to display on which body because the angry sculpt almost perfectly suits the cowboy outfit, and it's compatible with the hat as well. Help me out, which look do you prefer with which head sculpt? The angry one on the 616 body, or with the cowboy fit? Back to the custom for a sec, I wanted to try out the neutral head sculpt on this outfit. And I wanted to see what he looks like wearing the cowboy hat. This isn't half bad. I am tempted to now try and find a second cowboy hat, so I can have both Logans wearing one. For a quick side-by-side comparison, on the left, the stock SooSoo Toys Old Man Logan, and on the right, my custom Old Man Logan, made from a lot of pieces from this set and the DLC kit. These are the looks that I've settled on for now for each of these figures. I think they look great together, but that's just me. Weigh in down below, what do you reckon? Next to Sideshow's Tiger Stripe Wolverine, Old Man Logan is a touch on the tall side. I think SooSoo Toys got confused and went with Hugh Jackman Wolverine proportions, which isn't bad, just not quite right for the comic that this look is based off. He's even taller than the Hot Toys X-Men Origins Wolverine Civilian Logan. This is going to ruffle some feathers. You could potentially do a body swap and then you could make Old Man Logan a touch shorter. Going over articulation, starting off with his head sculpt. It is on a fixed neck, but also a double ball peg. Looking forward to there, looking up to there, swivel and pivot side to side. His arms will go up to there, going forward and back. There's a butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. There's no swivel at the bicep. There is, however, one at the elbow. It's a single bend with a swivel incorporated into it. For the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. The torso is largely unpadded, crunching forward to there, going back to there, swivel, and pivot side to side. His legs will go forward to there, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Ratcheted double bend at the knee going the full way, and a double ball peg for the ankles. Luckily, the boots are flared out at the top, so going forward and back, swivel, and you get a little bit of ankle tilt. Wrapping up on SooSoo Toys Old Man Logan. This is their single best release ever. It's not 100% perfect, single bend elbows is a touch frustrating, but other than that, I think it might be. The head sculpts, if you get the DLC kit, nice bonus by the way, dig them. The proportions are solid, he looks real enough, standing there like a shrunk down person in 1/6 scale, and the outfit hugs the body correctly, it's wired in all the right places, and you get multiple options with it. You don't have to go with the long jacket, you can have the pleather jacket on. Or you can do what I did, and kit bash yourself a completely separate Logan, making this a 2-pack, and that is even more appealing to me. I am well and truly in on the Old Man Logan story, so if SooSoo Toys decide to continue this line, because as far as I'm aware this guy's sold pretty well, I'm going to grab anything they come out with from this series. When SooSoo Toys gets it right and they're firing on all cylinders, their figures hit hard, man, and this one absolutely does. Now, I got mine as a review sample from One Man's Hobby. I have popped a link to their site in the description below. For your reference purposes only, this is not a promotional video, this is a review. All opinions have been 100% my own. It's just that SooSoo Toys made a banger of a figure this time. While you're down in the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.